Hi ladies and gentlemen, fellow traders, welcome to another episode of Weekly Forex Outlook with Chart Engineering Pro. We really appreciate you for taking the time to watch this video, and we do not take it for granted at all. If you haven't yet subscribed or you are new to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any content we post here. Then also, if you find value with what we share here, be sure to like, drop your comments, share your views, and share this video to your fellow traders or anyone who would find this information useful. So without wasting much time, let's have a quick recap of last week's setups or the trades we took last week, and then let's see how things turned out, and then we'll jump into the charts for the coming week. We have here crude oil, WTI crude oil. So last week we were expecting price to buy to complete this potential harmonic pattern. We got all the necessary confirmations we're supposed to get within this zone. Took the trade. The trade went into profits for a while, and then later took us out on break even. So this was a break even trade from last week. So going forward, we are still looking at the bearish side of things for WTI crude. So these are the two possible scenarios. So if price is able to break below this zone and gives us an opportunity back into this zone for a retest, we'll be looking out for selling opportunities from this zone back down to the expected TP that we were anticipating to sell to previously. Also, if price is able to come all the way up to this zone again, as we were anticipating before, and gives us confirmations within this zone, we'll still be interested in taking the sells to the downside if we get the confirmation to sell. But if price breaks this zone above, then we'll be interested in taking the buys to the upside. So that's what we have for US oil. We have here GBPUSDT. So this setup was shared last week, and we were anticipating price to react from this area of interest. Price actually dipped a bit lower and later give us a 4-hour structural shift here. And then after the 4-hour structural shift, it pulled back to give us a possible C leg formation where we were able to get our entry for this buy to the upside. So let me drop down to 30 minutes. Yes. So price actually pulled back into this zone and gave us a structural shift here on the 30 minutes time frame. We got this first engulfing candle here. Price pulled back down again and gave us another strong push to the upside and came back for a pullback. So we were anticipating a pullback. We got a pullback and we got this entry with this 1 hour or 30 minutes bullish engulfing candle was where we got our entry for this trade. So we are currently in this position and we'll be holding it for the coming week. And what I'm also very excited about is the CAD CPI we have on Monday. I believe strongly might be a catalyst to push this trade to the upside as we have been expecting. And if this plays out, we will be seeing a potential harmonic pattern also developing here, which is this is the X, this is the A, the B leg, the C leg, and a possible D leg, which will be like I think a deep crab pattern. So we are still in this trade actually. So we are hoping for the best. We have this missed trade. This trade was a banger last week and we missed it entirely. Come on, we missed this trade entirely. So as price had approached the area of interest that we had above, we were anticipating some reversal patterns and everything lined up, but then the focus was more on the crude oil setup, and then we actually missed out on this trade. So this trade actually gave us about 2 opportunities to enter, but we're still waiting for extra confirmations which actually denied us the opportunity to enter. So as we can see, we got these 2 rejection candles here, and after the rejection candles we got a bearish engulfing candle right after that on a daily time frame, and this could have been our second entry after the bearish engulfing candle here. We could have entered here to get our entry and put the SL above this rejections and then targeted our various targets that we had from last week. So it was a missed trade. It was a killer trade, but then we missed it. The other entry opportunity, which was the first one that came up, was this one. We had this double top formation on the 4-hour. We had this double top formation on the 4-hour. Price broke the neckline and later came back for a retest with this wick. So this wick would have been the actual first entry for this trade for us to sell to the downside. So what we're waiting for after this formation was, we're expecting price to break this daily structural low to give us a confirmation, like as in a structural shift on a daily perspective. Then we could get a pullback into this zone to give us a better entry to the downside, but we didn't get that opportunity. But then all hope is not lost. There's still another opportunity for us to take this EURCHF trade for the coming week. So we are going to look at that. So let's dive into the economic calendar for the coming week. So on Monday we have the CAD CPI. On Monday. On Tuesday there's no high impact news. On Wednesday we have the AUD wage price index, and also we have the GBP CPI, so you have to be on the lookout for that if you're holding any GBP pair. And later that day is going to be the FOMC meeting minutes. So on Thursday we are going to have NFP for the US dollar, due to the US government shutdown for the past weeks. We're not able to have the NFP, but so for the coming week we're going to have the NFP on Thursday. It's not on Friday, on Thursday. We usually have it on Fridays, but this time around it's on a Thursday, so let's be on the lookout for that if you're holding any USD pair. On Friday we're going to have the GBP retail sales and the various flash manufacturing PMIs for Euro, GBP and the USD. So these are the high impact news you should be looking out for the coming week. Let's jump into the charts and see what we have, the setups we have for the coming week. So we have here DXY. We had this setup from the previous weeks where we're anticipating DXY to pull back to this very first zone or the second zone to give us some reactions. And as we can see, price has entered our very first zone and we are already having a reaction from the zone. So we are going to drop down to the 4-hour time frame to see what is happening on DXY. So as you can see, 4-hour on the 4-hour time frame, price has already shifted bullish. On the 4-hour time frame, the price has given us a structural shift, a 4-hour structural shift, which is indicating as like signs of bullishness for DXY. So for the coming week, and actually this actual move gave us an opportunity to enter a very low risk sell on EURUSD. So we're going to look at that and see what else we have for the coming week. So due to this 4-hour structural shift, what we should be looking out for is these are the possible scenarios. We might have a retest of this structure, or price might pull back a bit lower and give us another push upwards to give us another structural shift, and then maybe we might come down to form maybe something like a right shoulder or a possible C leg. Then we continue the buy to the upside. So this is the very first scenario we have for DXY. The other alternative is price could also drop a bit lower, clear this low, and then later come and shift the structure again and then give us a bullish confirmation to the upside. So let's be on the lookout for this for DXY for the coming week. So for the coming week we are actually very bullish for DXY. This will only shift bearish if price is able to violate this second zone we have below and then break below and come for a retest to the downside. Until then, we are very bullish for DXY. Another thing we can also deduce from here is that if you are those who trade flags or those who trade trendline breakouts, another opportunity you can see here is you can see this as a channel. You can have this as a channel, and this would be our impulse. So this whole move would be our impulse. So the impulse could start from here or probably here. You can take it from here, and this would be our impulse. So what we are looking out for is we are waiting for a breakout of this flag and come for a retest and then take our buy to the upside. So when we are taking the buys, you can just take an equal distance from this same impulse and then target. It even aligns with our previous target that we had. So that's what we'll be looking out for. If you are a flag or bullish, those who trade flags, if you are into those kind of setups, you can look at that for DXY. So let's see what we have for the other pairs. And so, sorry, for DXY, to have a broader view long-term view of what DXY is going to do, check out the previous episodes from this channel. That's, I think, episode 1 and episode 3. I'm going to drop the links in the description box for you to make reference to them, so you can just go to those episodes and go to the timestamp for DXY and see what we have for DXY for the long term. So we have here EURUSD. The EURUSD, we were able to catch this very first sell at the second area of interest, which we were expecting price to react from. So going into next week, we'll be expecting the price might pull back again, back into this zone, and then continue selling. Or like I explained on DXY, price might even violate this, try and clear these highs before dropping to the downside. So we're looking out for more sales on EURUSD for the coming week. We're expecting price to also shift this 4-hour structure. If price is able to shift this 4-hour structure, we'll then look out for a possible pullback or a possible lower high to give us an entry opportunity to take it to the downside. So these are various targets we had from our previous episodes. So we're going to target this one as our first TP, and then this zone is going to be our second TP for the EURUSD sells. So we are currently very bearish on EURUSD. This can only be violated if we get a daily candle or a weekly candle breaking above this zone and then coming for a retest and continue to the upside. But until then, we are very bearish on EURUSD. We also have here GBPUSD. So for GBPUSD, we also anticipated that price was going to pull back into this area of interest and give us some reactions from this area of interest. Yes, price has actually tipped the area of interest, and then we have to wait for more price action to determine our direction or our entry for GBPUSD. So what we can see here is this might possibly buy a bit upwards to retest this trend line, give a retest of this trend line, or price can shift this daily structure, which will now give us a confirmation for bearishness for GBPUSD, because this has already retested the zone that we are anticipating it to retest. So this is what we have here. Should price shift this structure, to the downside, or should we get a daily candle closure below this structure, we'll wait for a pullback or a possible right shoulder. So it's going to form something like a head and shoulder. Wait for a possible right shoulder, we get an entry and we take it to the downside. So we are also very bearish on GBPUSD, but we have to wait for more price action to get a cleaner reversal pattern for us to engage this sell for the coming week. We have here AUDUSD. So from the previous week, we anticipated that AUDUSD was going to pull back into this zone. We anticipated that AUDUSD was going to pull back into this zone and give us some selling confirmation. As we can see, we have this very huge rejection candle from this zone, and what we should be looking out for is a possible or a cleaner reversal pattern formation within this zone to give us a selling opportunity to the downside. So this trade, we didn't enter this trade, we are waiting for extra confirmation. So what we'll be looking out for is price could form a head and shoulder here. So what we can see here, this could be the left shoulder, this could be the head, and this will possibly be the right shoulder, which is actually now forming. Then we get a break to the downside. So what we can look out for, what we can be anticipating for the coming week is that we can wait for price to break below this structural low, come for a retest, give us extra confirmations to the downside, then we take ourselves to the downside, targeting the potential targets we have here. So this is going to be our TP1, this is going to be our TP2 for this sell on AUDUSD. This can only shift bullish if price breaks above this zone and continues to the upside. Until then, we are very bearish on AUDUSD, which also conforms with the bias we have for DXY. So let's look at, I think, USDCHF. So for USDCHF has a divergent view against DXY. Previously, or we have this huge harmonic pattern that is yet to complete on USDCHF. And as you can see from the previous weeks, the CHF pairs have been very strong. So for the coming week, we might see CHF not conforming with the direction of DXY. We might, but then we have to trade it or play it safe with USDCHF. So what we can be looking out for is we're going to look out for a possible pullback to give us a possible right shoulder formation. So we are expecting maybe a possible pullback into. We're looking out for a possible pullback into this zone to give us a possible right shoulder. So this is going to be our left shoulder, this will be our head, and this will be our right shoulder. Then we'll look out for selling opportunities within this zone and take the sell to the downside to complete this harmonic pattern. And this can only be invalidated, or this can actually shift back into its bullishness if price breaks above this high or this zone and clears these structural highs here, and then comes for a retest and continues to the upside. Until then, we should be looking out for a possible sell on USDCHF, which is very divergent from what we are anticipating for DXY for the coming week. We had this setup NZDJPY, where we anticipated the price was going to shift this daily structure and come for a pullback and give us a buying opportunity to the upside. Price has actually shifted this structural point. So for the coming week, we'll be anticipating a pullback. We are anticipating a pullback to this structural point, or a bit deeper, to get buying confirmations to continue this buy to the upside. So we'll be looking out for these two areas, this structural point, and then a bit lower or deeper into this area, or any confirmations you're going to get from this area to the upside. You'll be willing to take this buy on NZDJPY. We have here EURCAD. So we had this setup from last week where we were anticipating price to react from this zone, give us bullish confirmations to the upside. We actually got confirmations, but the confirmations were not too clear, so we actually even missed out on this very bullish push from the zone we anticipated it to buy from the previous week. So as you can see, when price retraced into the zone, it gave us this very first 4-hour bullish engulfing candle, which could have been a possible entry for, a possible first entry for this move. And then later on, after creating this high, price came back for a lower high and give us this nice rejection within this zone and give us another 4-hour bullish engulfing candle here, which could have also been a second possible entry for this same move, but we missed out on these trades. But all is not lost. So currently, as you can see, price has formed an inverse head and shoulder, and we are currently in at the neckline, or price is actually now currently retesting the neckline for this possible inverse head and shoulder or cipher or shark pattern we are looking out for the coming week. So what we are going to look out for is wait for price to give us some bullish confirmations within this zone for us to continue the buys to the upside to complete this harmonic patterns at the top. So this is actually an inverse head and shoulder formation we should be looking out for. So this is our left shoulder, this is our left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, and now we are retesting the neckline for us to get an opportunity to the upside. So let's be on the lookout for this trade. And as I said earlier, for GBP the CAD CPI news might be a catalyst for this move to the upside. So let's be on the lookout for that. So we missed out on this EURCHF sell from last week, but going into next week, we have another opportunity to join this sell or to capitalize on this sell move we had from the previous week. So we are going to look out for a possible pullback into this first area of interest, get selling confirmations and continue the sells to this very target we have here. Or should price pull back a bit higher into the second zone, we'll still be interested in taking our sells to the downside, targeting the same target for the coming week or the coming weeks ahead of us. So we are very bearish on EURCHF. This can only shift bullish if price is able to violate all these two zones, break above this, clear the structural high, and then breaks above it and comes for retest and continues to the upside. But until then, we are extremely bearish on EURCHF. We also have here AUDCHF, which also has a similar setup as EURCHF, but this move we have here is a bit subjective. So if you look at it this way, it looks like it is developing. If you're going to have this as our C leg, then this is going to be a possible bat or alt bat pattern. But then if we are going to also consider this rather as our C leg and wait for another, if we are going to consider this as our B leg instead, sorry, so this is going to be our X, our A is going to be the B leg, and possible C leg, we are anticipating it to come to this zone. So what we are looking out for is to see price pull back to this area of interest, give us selling confirmations, and we take it to the downside. Should this one form, then the pattern is going to shift rather to a Gatly pattern instead of a bat or alt bat pattern. So this trade is very subjective, but then you can still have these two targets as your targets, and you're going to just monitor the momentum of price when price is approaching these areas, and then know how to take your profits from this trade. This can only be violated if price. We also have another third target below here. So this can only be violated if price breaks above this zone and then gives us some bullish confirmation back into this zone, and then we take it to the upside. Until then, we are also very bearish on AUDCHF. We also have the NZDCHF, which is a similar setup as EURCHF. So we're also very bearish on NZDCHF. So we are looking forward to see price pull back into this very first area of interest, give us a selling confirmation, and we take it to the downside. Or should price pull back a bit higher into this zone again, we will still be very interested in taking the sells to the downside for NZDCHF. We have here EURNZD, and so for EURNZD, the weekly perspective and the daily perspective are all bullish at the moment. So it will be very wise for us to look out for bullish opportunities to the upside. So for the coming week, we're looking forward to see price pull back a bit deeper into this zone, give us bullish confirmations, and continue the buys to the upside. Or should price pull back to the second zone below, we'll still be interested in taking or looking for buying opportunities to continue to the upside. This can only be violated if price breaks below this zone and clears these structural lows, these daily structural lows over here, and counts for a retest and continues to the downside. But until then, we are extremely bullish on EURNZD. We have here EURGBP. So EURGBP, we had this harmonic pattern that was developing from the previous weeks, where this pattern formed a crab pattern, but later on I realized that price is actually developing an extension for the crab pattern, and price will likely approach this area of interest we have above. So going into next week, on a weekly perspective, daily perspective, EURGBP is bullish. So we are going to look forward to a possible pullback into this area of interest where we have, yes, so we are looking forward to a possible pullback into this area of interest. Then we look out for buying confirmations to the upside. So we are very bullish on EURGBP. So let's be on the lookout for that. This can only be violated if price, clears, breaks, and clears these structures and breaks this zone and then continues to the downside. Until then, we are still very bullish for EURGBP. We also had this setup from, this is silver. We had this setup from last week where we were anticipating price to give us a daily candle break above this zone. So that's the arrow we have here, the direction we have here. So we're anticipating that price was going to give us a daily break above this zone and come for a retest, so we could buy to any of these two TPs. But price, after breaking out, just took off and to our TP without giving us an opportunity for an entry for this bat pattern completion. For the coming week, as you can see, this is a bat pattern that has formed, and price is actually now selling to complete the harmonic pattern, which has already hit the very first TP, which is the TP1 we have here, and price is most likely approaching the TP2, which is at this zone. So should price pull back to this zone where we were anticipating to buy, we will still be looking out for buying opportunities within this zone again to the upside. But this time around, we're going to have our targets above, which is going to be a possible a new all-time high at $60 for silver. And this, if this happens, then some way somehow silver has a positive correlation with gold. So if you trade gold, be on the lookout for that. We might just come here, react from this zone and continue to the upside to create a new all-time high. But if price breaks this low and clears these lows here, we might continue to see a bearish movement to the downside. But until then, we're just going to wait patiently for price to approach this zone, give us bullish confirmations, and we'll be interested in taking the buys to create this new all-time high at $60 for silver. We have S&P 500. So S&P 500 is also currently bullish, but some of the indexes which are not in the US are also showing some bearishness, which is very awkward. So what we're going to do is for S&P 500, it is developing something like a butterfly pattern. So if I drop down to the 4-hour, this is the pattern that is possibly developing. This is the X, this is the A, this is the B leg, and a possible C leg, and a continuation to complete the harmonic pattern to the upside. And as you can see, look at this, a strong bullish engulfing candle within this zone. So going forward, or looking as we enter next week, we'll be looking forward to see price pull back or give us a higher low formation back into this zone and give us bullish confirmations to continue the buys to the upside, targeting 7,000. Yes, 7,000 here. So we are bullish on the S&P 500. This can only be violated if price violates or breaks below this zone and continues to the downside. Then price would have shifted bearish. But until this happens, we are still going to we are actually bullish. We are still bullish on the S&P 500 for the coming week. We also have here the US 2000 or the Russell 2000. Unlike the S&P 500, Russell 2000 has actually shifted bearish, and for going into next week, we'll be looking forward to a possible pullback into this area of interest. So look for selling opportunities downside to this zone we have below. So we are very bearish on US 2000 or the Russell 2000 for the coming week. This can also be violated should price break above this zone, clear these structural highs, give us a possible comeback, give us a possible pullback either into this zone or even a bit lower and continue to the upside, giving us a possible harmonic pattern formation, which we were looking out for from the previous week. So this is the harmonic pattern that we were looking out for from the previous week. So we actually had the structural shift. So this is the harmonic pattern, this is the X, this is the A leg, this is the B leg. So this could possibly be the C leg and continue to the upside to give us a possible cipher or shark pattern for the Russell 2000. So let's see how price reacts from this zone. If price breaks above, we'll be looking for the bullish side. If price retests this zone and continues selling, we'll be looking out for the sell side for Russell 2000. We also have here UK 100, and the UK 100 is also very bullish, but then we are now going to look out for a possible retracement back into this area of interest. So going into next week, we'll be looking forward to a possible pullback to give us a possible right shoulder back into this zone, and then for selling opportunities to the downside. So we are going to be bearish on UK 100 for the coming week. Should this break above and price clears the structural high and continues above, then we are going to be bullish for the UK 100. But until then, we are going to look for the bearish side of things for UK 100 for the coming week. So we are going to look for selling opportunities back into this area of interest we have below. And this is also Australia 200, AUS 200, which has also shifted very, very bearish now. So going into next week, we'll be looking forward to a possible pullback into this very first area of interest. Look for selling opportunities to the downside into this zone, or should price pull back a bit higher to the second zone above, we'll still be interested in looking for sales to the downside to the zone we have below, or the area of interest we have below. Should price, continue buying, clearing these highs, then we're interested in taking the buys to the upside. Until then, we are very bearish on Australia 200 for the coming week. So if you're into crypto, the next setups are for you. So what we have here is the entire crypto market capitalization, and since we are seeing some bearishness or some dips in the markets, some people are actually panicking and are all over the place. So I would like to give some clarity on the price action for the crypto market. So what we have here is the entire crypto market capitalization, and as we can see, if we go to the 3 months, perspective, we are still bullish on the 3 months time frame, on the 6 months time frame, on the monthly time frame. I think we are still bullish on the monthly time frame. Yes. So going into, for the coming weeks, we will be expecting price to dip a bit further into this zone, either this first zone or the second zone, which is also very close to the first zone. That's why I've distinguished the colors for us. So we are still in the bull market. What we are seeing now is actually just a pullback to give more opportunities to the upside. So if you are into crypto and you are DCAing, you can be looking at this, and whilst price is still dipping, you can look out to buy more, since you are doing a dollar cost averaging and you are going to hold these positions for a very longer time. So we are going to see more dips into this very first area of interest, and then possibly into the second area of interest. When we can, if we get a 3 month candle, closing below the structural low, then we should be a bit worried, and of which the December closure is going to be the next 3 months candle. So if we get a 3 months candle closing below this very first structural low, then we would maybe have a possible pullback and see some bearishness to the downside. That is where we should be a bit worried, if we see that 3 months candle breaking below the structural low. Then again, the second structure, that if it breaks, then we should be a bit we should rather be much concerned that probably the bullish market is ending, or the bullish cycle is ending. If we also see a 3 months candle close below this structure, then that is when we should be worried about the markets now, or the bull run being over. If we get a 3 months candle breaking below this structural low and we get a pullback, and then we know that the bull market or the bull cycle is over for now. But until then, if we get these candles reacting from these zones all the way back up, we shouldn't panic, or we shouldn't think the bullish market or the bullish cycle is over. What we should be looking out for is, if price pulls back into these zones, then we start seeing structural shifts on a daily perspective. We start seeing something like this, an inverted shoulder on a daily perspective or the weekly perspective. We get a structural shift and we are moving like this, then we know that the bulls are stepping in once again. So if we get any formation like this, or maybe a very huge double bottom on the weekly perspective or the daily perspective in any of these two zones we have here, then we should know that the bulls are stepping in once again and price is going to rally back up again. But until then, we are going to have more dips into this downside. And as we know, BTC accounts for more than half of the entire market capitalization. So if this is going to crash, then we are also going to see more bearishness on BTC before we can see it rally back up again. So this is the setup we have for BTC. Looking at what we have on the entire crypto market cap for the coming week or going forward, you should be looking for it to a possible pullback into this zone and sell continuation into the 86,000 to 78,000 region for the coming weeks ahead. So we should be expecting more dips on BTC. If you trade BTC, you should be expecting more dips on BTC. We also have here Bitcoin Cash. So for Bitcoin Cash, it's since we are now in a bearish correction for the crypto market, we'll be looking out for this possible sell from either this zone or the second zone. So we're waiting for price has already pulled back into the area of interest. So what we're going to do is we're going to be looking out for possible confirmations or possible structural shifts in within this zone and look for selling opportunities to the downside to $406 for Bitcoin Cash. So this is what we should be looking out for. Now that we are already in our very first area of interest, should we get a 4-hour candle close below the structural low and come for a pullback into this zone, we're looking for selling opportunities to the downside to $406 for Bitcoin Cash. Thank you so much for sticking through to the end of this video. I really appreciate you for taking your time to be here, and I would like to encourage you to apply proper risk management with your trades. Trade safe and sound, and I wish you a very fruitful and a profitable week ahead. And before you drop out, make sure you like this video, you share it to your fellow trader friends or colleagues, and I'll catch you on another episode. Thank you so much. Bye bye.